As Hashem Yisburach, Mahal Chamishi, Parshas Vayeshev. We're going to do Chamishi and Shishi, Be'ez Hashem. This is the Parsha of Yosef and Potiphar. Vayeshev Potiphar. Yosef went down to Mitzrayim, and Potiphar bought him. Vayiknaihi Potiphar's Rispadoi. Sarat Tabuchem. He was in charge of, he was the chief executioner, as pushed it out. The kid said, he was a big Tsar, and he bought him as a slave, but he was very matzliach. Everything that he did was a big hatzlucha, to the point that his master thought that he was a magician. He thought that he was a kishuf mach, and he said to him, you could stop with the kishuf. Everybody in Mitzrayim knows kishuf. And he said, I'm just... And then he realized that everything that this person said, everything Yosef said, was Eibishter. Look, oh, Yerutzen, it's the Eibishter, that the tea should come out warm, and Yerutzen Azoy, everything was Yerutzen, and the man the Eibishter's nomen, and that's the pusik. Vayehi Hashem es Yosef, Vayehi Ish Matzliach, because the Eibishter was with him, that's why he was Ish Matzliach, even though he was the Hamitzri, he was Masliach and everything because he was busy with the Eibishter. Today, Baruch Hashem, everybody says Baruch Hashem, and now we got to the point where we say thank you Hashem, Mizmer L'Soida, and Azevata. This is all the Vayehi Hashem as Yosef, the man and the Eibishter in everything, and that makes Hatzlucha. So Vayimtz Yosef Chayin Ba'ainav. So he liked him very much, and he was Nosechayin. He was charmed by him, so he made him in charge of the entire household. He became the manager of the whole household. The whole yesh lo nusam biyudai, everything that was his, he put in his hand. Then the pusik says, everything that was his. So first time it says the yesh lo, everything his, and then the second one he says yesh lo. I think that the Nikida is Potiphar. He saw the godless of Yosef. He was mamish nisbatel to him, to the point where his whole yeshes, his whole existence, his whole everything that not only his physical possessions, his whole inner self, he was mavatel to Yosef. Vayazev kol ashaloi biyad Yosef. He left everything over in the hands of Yosef, and the only thing which Yosef did not have control over was his wife. Yosef was very, very handsome, and he had he was very handsome and a very strong build, and he was mamash a muridik specimen of humanity. And Aishes Adoinov wanted to take advantage of this. And she said, Shechvu imi, come sleep with me. And it says Vayimuayin, and on the Vayimuayin there's a shalshelis to show that Yosef said to himself, no. He kept on Vayimuayin, right? And he said, listen, mekanisht, metunisht. And he didn't say V'chol yesh lo nusam b'yudi. He said V'chol asher yesh lo nusam b'yudi. V'chol yesh lo would mean everything that's his, everything that defines him would mean also his wife. But he didn't say that. He said, everything that is his, all his possessions, he put in my hand. But the wife is not the possession. He didn't give that in my hands, and I have no right to do that. He said it's avla against your husband, and it's avla to the Bnei Shalom, the avla to the Bnei Shalom. But she didn't give up. She continued and continued and continued and continued. He refused to sleep with her or to be with her. So the Mefarshim said that the Gemara in Soita says that it means that if he would have slept with her, he would be with her in Olam Haba, because a sexual encounter reaches very, very deeply within a person's psyche, and he would be connected to her, even in Olam Haba. So he didn't. He refused to do that. But the Mefarshim of Platz say that Lishkav Etzla means even to lay with her, even not to do anything, just to lay with her, even fully clothed. Liosima means even to schmooze with her, even to flirt with her, even to have any good conversation with her. He refused to have any relation with her at all. Then the Pusik says, on this particular day, on this particular day, so he came to do his business. So what does it mean do his business? In the Gemara, one Mandam says he came to do his bookkeeping. He was a bookkeeper. And that's where the Targum learns, the other Mandam learns that he came to do his business with her. In other words, he was ready to give in and to sleep with her. But the Rebbeinu Shalom showed him a vision, in which he saw his father's punim, and he realized, 1 second, wait, I can't do that. And he realized that everybody, all of the shvutim are going to have a hatzlucha, the Meshach the Yudin. There's going to be avnei achoshen, and his avnei achoshen is going to be dark. It's not going to light up because of what he did. In any event, he was able to withstand the temptation. So she grabbed she saw that he wasn't agreeing. So there was nobody home. So she grabbed his cloak. Now, in order for him to get it away, he would have to reach out, touch her, hold her, and remove his cloak from her. And that would, automatically the physical encounter would get them closer. And that was her intent. He said, I'm not doing anything with this. He just took off his cloak and escaped. More than likely, the cloak in those days was the basic piece of clothing that you were wearing, which means that when he went out, he was close to being naked. But which obviously is not going to look good for him at all. But he refused to have anything to do with this Ary'e, and he escaped. He left. He just let it go. When she saw that, so she called out in a big sound, a big loud voice to all the people in the house and said, look what he tried to do to me. He tried to come and to sleep with me and to seduce me and so forth. But there was nobody in the house. So who was she yelling to? So she was just doing all of this yelling to show Yosef, you're outside. When everybody comes home, this is what I'm going to say. So you better get yourself back in here and we make it happen. Otherwise, I'm going to make up a tale about you. And I'm telling you exactly what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say. And she was yelling as though there were people there to scare Yosef. Yosef didn't care. He just left everything there and he just. So when her husband came home, obviously she told him what happened, her version of it, and he wanted to kill Yosef. But he did research on the cloak, the way it was ripped, and he realized that the story was exactly the opposite. And he couldn't do anything to his wife because the disparity is very great. In those days, there were castes. If you were from the lordly caste, and the slave was from the lowly caste, you could not. There was no way that they were not equal for equal. So the slave is always in the wrong. And what happened was, he said he's going to kill him. She said, "Please don't kill him. Please don't kill him," which obviously shows what's going on. He really didn't want to kill him because he knew that that Yosef was not at fault over here. And Chazal say that he wanted Yosef for his own homosexual inclinations. So he didn't kill him either. So Yosef ended up in jail so that they could both figure out how they could get him when they want him. Chazal tell us in Masechta Yima that the lady came to him every day in jail and said, "Listen, I'll get you out of jail." And she changed her clothing twice a day. And she came and she said, "I'm going to do this to you, that to you." And she tried by force and by persuasion and by temptation and everything. And Yosef refused to have anything to do with it. In the Yosef this week, we have a whole discussion as to what does it mean to not have anything to do, had to run away from an Ary'e so strongly that the Ary'e doesn't even talk to you anymore. That's where Yosef got to. The Ary'e didn't even talk to him anymore. At this point, Yosef was put into the jail, and once again, everything that happened in the jail, Yosef was Gamzi L'Toive, Baruch Hashem, thank you Hashem, everything. And the Sabbai saw that everything that he does is very matzliach. So he made him in charge of all of the things in the Bais. It doesn't mean in charge because he was like the servant of the people in the Bais in the jail, but he had free